Hey guys, this is Echo Soundworks, and you're checking out a first look video for Logic Pro X 10.3.0 on ADSR. So in this video, I'm going to try to run over a bunch of the features that I was pretty pumped about that I think will be really well received with Logic users. So this format, I'm going to try to hit as much information as possible in as short amount of time as possible, so I'm going to go quick. Let's just dive right in. All right, the first thing you're going to notice is the appearance of Logic looks a lot different. And if you guys follow my videos, you know I'm a bit of a skin whore. I use like a lot of themes in Logic. This is actually just the stock GUI now. They've changed it. They've updated it. They made it a little bit more modern. Everything's a little bit more flat. It's kind of like Ableton had a baby with Logic 9 is kind of how I'm likening it. So let's check out the mixer view real quick. This is what you get. So it's pretty cool. Right, some pretty nice features. So speaking of the appearance, you can actually customize the look of the main window inside of Logic. You can go to Logic Pro Preferences and then just select General. Now here there'll be a new display tab. Now in this display, you can change the color of the background, but it's only grayscale. So you can't actually like make it blue or pink or red. You can just change how gray it is, which is a step in the right direction for sure. So if you like the darker, you can change it. There's this option here where you can have it on custom, which is what I have it set on right now. And you can also just choose between presets, dark, bright, and then custom. Now with the custom, you can make it lighter or darker. And you also have these grid lines. Now the grid lines, when they're set to automatic, are white. Well, I kind of like them as black. It's kind of a cool view. So let me zoom in here. And you'll see on this blue region, for instance, you'll see this black line at the top. And you can make that more pronounced or less pronounced. Now I kind of like having a little black line there. It seems like it kind of chops up the space in between the track a little bit nicer. I don't like a huge amount of it, but you can also change the vertical lines from white to black, which is kind of cool. So if you just want to change up the look of your DAW, you can do that. So I'm going to leave those back on white for now. And another appearance-oriented change was they've introduced some new colors, which is really nice. So if you go up to View, go Show Colors here, or you can do the key command, there's a whole new row of colors. Now they didn't add a bunch of new colors, but there's some slightly different shades. There's one extra row. So again, another step in the right direction. All right, the second cool new feature to Logic Pro X is you have horizontal zoom. All right, so let's check that out in practice. For instance, let's say I have, let me join these two together. Let's say you have like a large MIDI region, right? Open the piano roll. You can hit this over here, right here. It'll say horizontal auto zoom. What it'll do is it will fit everything in that region that you have selected into plain view, which is really nice. Now, this doesn't just work in the MIDI editor, it'll work in a full session. Let's say you open a session, or a friend sends you a session, you're working on a client session, and you're like, oh wow, there's a lot of tracks, you need to see everything. It's also up here as well. You have the horizontal auto zoom. It'll fit everything in the view of your window. So if you zoom out a little bit further, you can do vertical zoom, which you've had that option before, and then you have the horizontal zoom, which will kind of fill everything up, which is a really nice feature. And this isn't on horizontal zoom, but I do want to touch on it. The transport display up here is a little bit different. You actually have to change the view. It's over here on the right, and this will drop down. This is more like a GarageBand layout now. I think it was over here in GarageBand for a while, but I could be wrong on that. But it used to be over here where you change between like your beats, time, that sort of stuff. So that is over there. I just want to touch on that real quick. Now, one of the coolest features of the updated version of Logic here in 10.3 is the addition of actual true stereo panning. So before, Logic was kind of just like a fader. It's like having a pan balance on like a old school stereo. So right now, for instance, if we solo this guitar track, which it was stereo. I know some of you might be like, that was mono. No, it was recorded with two inputs and outputs. So if I go to the pan here, right, that's what it sounds like. Now, if I right click on this while I'm down here by control clicking, I have an option for stereo pan balance, which is what it technically was before, and then binaural panning. Let's check out the difference between the balance at the left and the stereo pan. All right, so that is a really nice feature. It's going to come in handy when you're mixing. Another really interesting feature in this update is if you go and you're changing the length of a region, as you're moving it, you'll notice that you'll see in a grayed out version of the track under it, you'll see the transients and you'll see the region info, which is really nice. So if you're working with like a percussive track, like this is a snap track, and let's say there's more transients than just one here, right? And you want to kind of move things around, you don't have to guess where, you know, the next section starts. Or if you're chopping stuff up and you're kind of like piecing it together, you can actually see what's coming next, right? So if I was like, oh, there's that next one, that's where I needed to stop, right? And then you could apply like a fade or that sort of thing. So that is really cool. So another really interesting feature of Logic X 10.3 is the addition of creating track alternatives. So go to your preferences under Logic Pro and then make sure you select recording. And this is where you can do things like create take folder, merge, overlap, replace, that sort of thing. Well, if you're in a cycle recording mode or you have a loop going and maybe you have two different lead lines that you kind of want to A-B, or maybe you have two different grooves where it kicks on different beats, this is a really cool option for that. So I'm going to show you it in real time. So I'm going to select create track alternative. I'm going to turn off the mic and I'm going to play two different lead lines over this intro. All right, I'm going to color that real quick. We're going to use one of the new shades here. Let's use this one. Okay, so there is the lead. Now, if you'll see right here on the track, if I zoom in and open this up, you'll see where it says B, and there's these two little arrows where I can drop down. Then it says A, right? So this is the first take, and this B is the second take. So I can toggle between them actually by turning on this little power sign here. So this will show all the takes. Let's say there's 2 or 3 or 4. This is a better view than toggling, between these different ones. Now this works for both audio and MIDI. I just showed you on MIDI. Now it would work with singing as well. So, or guitars, whatever it is. So let's check these two out and see which one we like. And then we can just turn the power off on that one and it'll be A. All right, so I think I like that one a lot more than the other one. So it actually does have its purpose. Now you can actually just go and click to delete them. You can do delete inactive, and it will delete the inactive ones, and you'll see that those little markers went away, showing you that there are no track stacks there. All right, so this feature here is one of the best ones in Logic Pro X 10.3, and it's where you can now trigger sidechaining from a MIDI or software instrument, which is really nice. So for instance, this kick right here in this drop is sidechaining these chords. Right, now to do that, what I had to do is make sure the kick was in audio. I put a compressor on the, I actually put the compressor on the chord patch coming from Serum, and I chose the kick, right? Well, you can now do it straight from a MIDI region, which is really, really nice. So what I'm going to do here real quick is I'm going to go to track. I'm going to go to replace or double drum track because I'm trying to convert this bad boy to MIDI here, and it will replace it, and now there's MIDI. And I don't want the EXS24 because I hate the EXS24 like the goddamn plague. But I digress. So let's turn off, let's just delete that and be happy again. All right, so I have battery pulled up. So here's the MIDI, right? Basically triggering where the kick was. So I have battery 4 pulled up. There's the kick. Let's turn it up. All right, so what I'm going to do is I'm going to label this something I can find easily. Kick, caps, hell yes, not jelly yes. All right, so let's go down to the chord track. So we're going to, instead of having the compressor here on the chord track be triggered by the kick, the audio kick, we're going to go down by scrolling down and find where it says battery kick, hell yes. And now that's going to trigger the sidechain compression. So let me solo these and play them, and you'll see that. Right, so if I just play this now, you won't hear any compression on it. right? So now I have that triggered in a couple different instances here. So let's go down to a few of these other ones, and I don't want that one. Let's do, there it is, battery kick, hell yes. And I think we'll do it on this one as well. All right, so now all three of those are being triggered to, are by the MIDI track coming from battery. All right, the final really cool feature in this update that I really liked was the option to do selection-based processing, which is kind of cool. So you can double-click, make sure you're on track, not file of your audio region here, if you're doing an audio region, and then go to selection-based processing. Okay, now this window will come up right here. So if I play this in the transfer bar and just hit play, right, or space bar, just plays it with whatever I have on my channel strip. Now let's go and load up an effect for A. I'm going to go to FabFilter Saturn. Let's choose stereo. It'll open up a plugin. Now you'll notice that this FabFilter Saturn is not on my channel strip itself. So if I hit play, it still will sound the same. Even if we go to, let's just do something, let's do like a mix crunch. And if I hit play, it still sounds the same. Well, if I go into the selection-based processing window and hit pre-listen, there's the effects coming from Saturn. Now, if I click B now and hit pre-listen, it'll just sound like with whatever I have on the actual channel strip. So then what you can do is, if you really like A, you can be like, oh, I love that. You can then hit apply. And then what it will do is it'll actually kind of like bounce it in place with that effect. Right, you'll notice that the saturation is there, but there is still no FabFilter Saturn on my actual track. Now I'm going to undo that because I don't want to do that for this track here, but that is a really cool feature to A/B some stuff. All right, guys, that sums up our look at Logic Pro X 10.3. If you have any questions or comments, let me know below and I'll get back to you as soon as I can. Like I said at the beginning of the video, I'm Echo Soundworks. Thank you so much for watching, guys. I'll see you next time.